Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're asking the question, what is up with white ink tattoos? Now, white ink is used all the time in tattooing to make highlights or to lighten other colors. But today we're going to focus on white ink only tattoos. So white ink tattoos have definitely grown in popularity in the last few years. I see them all the time on my Instagram and they're definitely very unique, super different from your typical black or color tattoo. And I think that's why they really stand out, just because of how unique they are. However, there is some debate on if you should get a white ink tattoo because of how the ink looks over time in the skin. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. As with all my videos, my resources will be linked down below. This video is simply an exploration into the reasons someone may or may not get tattooed with white ink. I'm not here to persuade you either way, just to tell you guys what I've researched. All opinions and experiences are welcome down below. One of the biggest drawbacks with white ink tattoos is that they tend to fade away really quickly. In general, lighter colors do fade away easier and faster than darker colors, with white being the most extreme case. Some sources I read said that it can be difficult for tattoo artists to see the white ink while they're applying it, so that might affect the staying ability of the ink. However, with some other resources that I found, tattoo artist Jake Ferris mentioned that, quote, "It's not really about the process and more about the fact the tattoo ink is translucent." He continued on to say, "Skin color can pass through a tattoo, so your natural skin tone will always be dominant unless you use a tattoo ink that's darker than your natural complexion." With these type of tattoos, it seems like the tattoo is so dependent on how that individual's skin looks with the ink in it. So it seems like the results really vary from person to person. Despite the reasoning, these tattoos definitely don't stay white for much longer after the tattoo is applied. And a lot of the images we're seeing online are of fresh white tattoos. If you see any a few years, you will see that they have either lost their color completely or blended a lot more in with the client's skin tone. Another potential downside is that when and if that white ink fades from your body, the result often tends to be something that looks more like a scar in the long term. If you see a healed white ink tattoo in person, you might notice that the skin looks a little raised in that area. This is actually the case for most tattoos. It just depends on that person's skin type and how it reacts to being tattooed. But with white ink tattoos, this raised skin effect tends to be a little bit more visible since there's no ink covering it. Some people like the look of this, some people don't. It's definitely just personal preference. It is really dependent person by person, but the raised skin definitely doesn't have the same effect that scarification might have. Those are definitely two very different things. So here are some examples that you can see that raised skin effect. Like with this heart on the hand, you can definitely see that very clearly there. And with these flowers on the shoulder area, this one seems like it might be a little bit more fresh, but you can still see that raised effect. Like I said, this is just personal preference. Some people really like it, some people don't like it. So it's kind of just up to you. So when white ink tattoos heal, they do not stay pure white. I have some examples of this from the Instagram account Pauline Tattoo. They do a wide range of white ink tattoos, along with white and black ink tattoos. And these are really pretty. The contrast is incredible. This tattoo artist posts the tattoos healed as well. So for example, we have these two flowers, one white ink and one black ink, and they posted this 1 month healed. And you can see that that white flower has totally blended in with the person's skin tone. I think this still looks really nice. So again, it's just personal preference. Then we have another flower and woman's figure, and it healed a month later. You can see that same effect of it blending into the client's skin tone as well as that raised effect in this image. So these white ink tattoos tend to be more translucent and raised skin. So you kind of just have a very subtle design that people probably wouldn't see unless they were really looking for the tattoo. And some people, that's exactly what they want. They want that subtlety and delicateness of kind of like a hidden tattoo in plain sight. Which, if you want that, totally go for it. There are many white ink tattoos that you can find online that turn more of like a yellowish or grayish, and some people are not satisfied with that result. There seems to be some debate as to why this is the case sometimes. So the pigment in white ink can be titanium dioxide, zinc oxide, or something called corundum. Some people will say that the pigments are reacting with the sunlight, or the pigments are oxidizing in the skin or by the tattooing process, and that's why they're turning either yellow or gray. But it doesn't seem to be conclusive why this is happening with some people. What we do know for sure is that the ink is within the layers of the skin, and the melanin in the skin seems to be altering the appearance of the white because it's so dependent on the client's skin tone, how the white will end up looking. With that being said, some people do say that white ink tattoos tend to look better on darker skin tones because the discoloration of the white is less apparent in contrast to a darker skin tone. So you wouldn't necessarily see a variation in the color of the white as you would with a lighter skin tone. However, this might not always be the case. Like I said, it's so dependent person by person, so you don't necessarily know until it is healed in your skin. In 2017, BuzzFeed published a video called "Dark Skinned People Get White Ink Tattoos." It's a pretty fun video. In the video, two people, Key and Ryan, go get white ink tattoos. And prior to the tattoos, they do consult with two tattoo artists who definitely manage their expectations. So I think that part is really great. The two tattoo artists in the video are Daniel Sartor and Ray Jimenez. Daniel's quoted to say, "You can't expect them to be paper white. Because of the melanin in the skin, it will tone down a few shades lighter than what your skin tone is." So that's definitely a good point. We should hope that all tattoo artists who are tattooing white ink do have this conversation with their clients and they are managing those expectations. Both Key and Ryan seem to be really happy with their tattoos by the end of the video, and they really like that subtle nature of the white ink tattoos. So I was only able to find a picture of Key's tattoo more recently. She posted this photo in 2019 of the tattoo, so that would be 2 years after it was done. And I feel like her tattoo is perfect for a white ink since the statement makes sense with the D and without the D. So she says, "Let go" in black, and then the D is in white. So if you don't really see, it just says "let go." But if you look deeper, it says "let God." That seems to be really special to her. So it seems like a really perfect tattoo for her and for the white ink application. If you do want a white ink tattoo, definitely go to someone who has experience doing them and someone that will educate you on exactly what to expect. What's good about these tattoos though is if it turns out to be something you really don't like, this is pretty much the easiest tattoo to cover up with any other color you could really want. Pretty much any design you could cover these things up with. So the last thing that I wanted to touch on is white ink over completely blacked out portions of the body. This is definitely super interesting, really different. It seems to be somewhat of a new thing, at least from what I've seen. So some people get blackouts for a variety of reasons, and it's essentially just covering an area of your body with black ink. Most of the time people are covering up a larger tattoo that they don't want to get removed. While it does seem more rare, some people do get blackouts as their tattoo, and there's nothing under it. So here are some examples of those kind of tattoos. There's actually a whole Instagram page called White on Black Tattoo where there's a bunch of these. There's a lot of interesting geometric patterns. You can see that this tribal star was covered up with black, and then the artist went in with that geometric pattern of white. This one is also pretty geometric, really interesting way to differentiate the blackout from the rest of the arm. This one is a blackout with kind of like a peony and wave design on it. This one's definitely one of the more subtle ones that I've seen. So to get this effect, you have to completely black out the area, and that might take a few sessions to do. And then once that's completely healed, the tattoo artist goes in with white on top of that completely healed black area. The tattoo artist Nathan Mold is really popular for doing this tattoo style. He tattoos at the White Willow Studio in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Lately, he's been doing a lot of bodysuits, but not too long ago, he was doing a lot of these white over black tattoos. Nathan says in an interview with Tattoo Do that, quote, "It will often take 5 sessions or more to get the white ink to appear bold enough against the black background of the tattoo." So you can see that this would be a pretty huge time commitment as well as financial commitment to get done. What's interesting about Nathan is that he's been doing this for a while, so he does have evidence of these tattoos aging over time. And it seems like he gets this question a lot. So for example, this post by him says, "Every time I post a white ink over black ink tattoo, someone comments, 'I'd like to see that in 5 years.' He says, 'Well, here you go, 5 years healed, no filter, no editing.'" And this is a pattern on someone's shoulder. And you can see that that white did hold up really well over time. The white almost looks like skin breaks, which is really interesting. Here we have another healed white on black sleeve. This one's 6 years old. You can definitely see that it's an older tattoo and that it's faded quite a bit, but yeah, 6 years later. Interesting stuff. With that being said, I really want to hear what you guys think about white ink tattoos in general, and definitely let me know what you think about white ink tattoos over blackouts. That's really interesting to me, and I don't know what I think about it, honestly, so I'd definitely like to know your opinion. If you're thinking about getting a white ink tattoo, I would definitely consider what we've talked about today. If you're a person who loves tattoos, I would say there's not a huge risk with getting a white ink tattoo because you could just cover it up. But if you're someone who wouldn't normally get a tattoo and you're really on the fence about it, I'm not sure that this one is for you. But that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. Please leave me this emoji in the comments so I know you're a real one. Bye guys. I don't know if you guys noticed, but some things are a little different today. I cut and dyed my own hair. So if you notice any weird parts, But I also adopted a furry friend. Her name is Olive. I'll put some photos up here. She is sleeping right now. So maybe one day in the future, she'll allow us to see her in the background of my videos. I love her to death. Okay, bye.